It brings meaning to the suffering. If you just suffered and that was it, what are you left with? You have to find some meaning in it, or else it just sort of like can crush you.
Get ready. It's time. Christina, Catherine, Lisa, Amy, and Lauren. Welcome to the Cimorelli podcast.
Hey, I'm Christina.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Amy.
I'm Lauren.
And we're Cimorelli.
Welcome back to
The Cimorelli podcast. Hello, guys. I forgot to inform you. I forgot what number this is.
I said it probably 5
You
times.
did, and it escaped
Christina,
my
why don't
memory.
you tell us, Chris?
All right, guys, it's episode 189.
189? I never
so
would have
close to
thought of
200.
that.
Wow.
Guys, we're so close to 200 episodes. Just breathe it in.
That is do a
Is that
celebration.
like the whole podcast
Yes.
ever?
Wow.
That's 200
crazy.
hours of us talking.
Wow.
That's too
More
much.
than that.
I love that for us. Yeah, so today my throat is staging a titch of a rebellion, so I'm not going to be speaking as much just because, like, you know, I'm going to be more active listening, you know? But today we're going to talk about a very not talked about topic, actually, that much, which is how we find God in suffering or darker times that we've been through in our lives. And I want to say excited to get into this, but I don't know if that's, like, the right word. Because it's not like, ooh,
You're
fun and excited.
about a deep
It's
topic?
like eager.
Yeah, I like deep things when it's not like, listen, the only things I don't like are when I feel like I'm like, or girl talk TMI things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
or things where I'm
my
like, oh, I have to share too much. But this I feel like I can share correctly.
Okay.
But yeah,
Nice.
because like, you know, the Lord is with us. And so that's why I think I don't feel weird.
We were saying there's like a lot of people in the public eye or like creators or whatever who are Christian and like who talk about being Christian maybe a little bit, but then they don't really share, and us included, they don't share that much about like how God is a part of like their daily lives or like their trials and tribulations and such which and so forth. That's what my teacher used to say. And we were like, well, I would like to hear that from them. So maybe we should share that with you guys. Maybe you guys want to hear that from us. It's just
Yeah.
something you don't
And
normally think of saying for some reason.
Also, like, I think it's appropriate because this time of year, the holidays can be really hard for a lot of people. Like,
Oh, yeah.
that you could be like grieving the loss of someone, or like, I don't know. I feel like the holidays just bring up a lot of mixed emotions for people. So I think it's a good time to talk about like a topic like this.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing today. Should be pretty interesting. So we'll start out with our highs and lows of the week, everyone. What,
Okay.
Lauren? What now?
Here's my
Oh, it
highs
sounded like
and
you had an
lows.
interesting high or low from that face.
I'll go
No.
first because mine is not that interesting, but pretty fun. So my low is that I have a very strange low, sorry, grade cold. It's not like anything.
It's so low.
Yes.
It's not even there, guys.
Exactly.
Don't worry.
It's so annoying though because like I
Okay.
don't feel like sick, but I know that something's going on.
It's just like it's itching at you.
Yes.
You just like you can't get comfortable.
And it's like- yeah, and
It's so weird. It's like a low grade cold.
it's
that's
super
I think
low.
I had that too. Where it's like I'm kind of sniffly but not
yeah,
really.
and
I'm
it's
just
like I don't
weird.
even feel like tired or anything. I'm just like I can feel the like
Itching.
little bacteria, and it's like whatever, you know.
Feel the
Well,
bacteria.
technically, it's a virus, right?
I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
The bacteria from the virus, I think that's probably a thing. Who could ever know? And my high is that the Eagles won last night.
Oh,
And I love that for them.
Wait, why is that your
Because it's great.
He's a sports fan.
They haven't, I'm sports adjacent now. They haven't won against the Chiefs in like 13 years.
I guess
okay?
it's kind of in our blood a little bit.
Yes, I geographically claim the Eagles and the 49ers.
Yeah, because
that's
our dad's
blood.
from Philadelphia. That's
And
why.
we're from NorCal. I was going to say Northern California and NorCal at the same time. So like
Norcrow.
Yeah, NorCal. But the Eagles are having a great season, so obviously I claim them.
That's you.
But it was like a Super Bowl rematch, kind of, in a way.
Oh, interesting.
Even though it really, yeah. So it was great. We watched it for a little while. I fell asleep. That's how great I am at sports.
Oh my gosh.
And then I went upstairs and watched a Hallmark movie, but then they won.
Oh my gosh.
So good for them.
Cool.
Ariel's not actually one of the Chiefs to win, but, you know, they've won for the last 13 years.
Yeah.
Jason deserves a win.
Yes.
Jason
love
deserves
it.
it.
Max and I are watching the Kelsey Brothers documentary right now.
I love them.
It's really good.
I love Jason
So for every time
Kelsey.
they do these football plays, I'm like, my brain just shuts off. I'm like, this is the most boring thing I've ever seen. I just
Aren't
want to
his-
see the talking, the relationships.
Yes,
like,
aren't his little girls so cute?
yeah, I love seeing the family
And his
relationships
wife? Oh,
and his
she's
wife.
so
Yeah, they're so.
cool.
Oh, I love it.
I love them.
Yeah, love that. And I love the
Don't know
brotherly relationship.
Yes!
It's so sweet how much they support each other.
I
Anyway,
know.
Max
He
is like,
wears-
all these people jumping on the bandwagon because of the Taylor Swift thing. And I'm like, but it's fun.
AKA, is that not proving Taylor Swift put him on the map?
It is.
No, but all the sports people though
It's
are saying that
wild.
they already were on the map. Like Max has
They
said
were
that.
on the map, but this
Not
wasn't on the regular.
They were
or
on
the
one
bigger
map, not
culture
like
map.
They
that
were not
map.
the non-sports map.
Listen, I think it actually was
map.
TikTok and their podcast that put them on the map first. That's
Yeah.
how I found them. Okay.
Yeah.
But I will say it's so cute because Jason, Travis Kelce wears Jason's birth year as his number on his jersey.
I love
How
that.
cute is that?
I don't know why, but I feel like I think of sibling relationships in sports being more of like a rivalry.
But they're
But
so not that.
But maybe that's not right. But they seem so supportive, and I love that.
Like, I just love it. I love it so
Love
much.
a heart. I started tearing up when they were talking about how like they support each other. I was like, this is so beautiful.
Shit, you should watch. You and Nick
Yeah,
might like it.
Nick is trying to get me to watch it.
Yeah, and
We
I
just
feel
never
like you
watch
would relate
anything.
to Kylie because she's more like laid back, chill, like on top of things. In a way, she's like a mixture of you and Lauren, where she's
Laid
like
back.
Chill.
okay, she's like low key, like you are, but she's like
Wait, what kind of low key?
you're like low
Like
key
a
gal.
humble woman.
Yeah.
Oh, humble.
And she's like, I don't like the attention. She likes to be behind the camera.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Not
And
trying to be like,
she's
put me in the spotlight.
Yes, exactly.
I love her. She seems
She
Yeah.
seems cool. And they have
Nina's
3
never on
daughters.
camera.
I don't love the spotlight.
She
That's
just
true.
gives like a vibe that reminds me of both of you, and I don't really know what it is.
And she
Don't
married
know her.
a.
Older brothers.
That could not be me.
No,
but that's
could not.
interesting.
But I like them, so yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'll probably get into it at some point because Nick wanted to.
And
good.
I think that you would both like because there's a football, there's a family.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Human interest.
Okay, who's next? Highs and lows.
Oh, you want to go? Oh, all right. Okay. High. Low is easy. I was sick for like a year. It felt like and I was like 2.5 weeks.
Kat, that sucks.
It's horrible. I literally was like
2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I
But you had
counted
2
because
things.
well, I guess no, it was actually more like 2 weeks.
You and your
I think it was
kids.
13 or 14 days total.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I was like, it was in between. I was well for like a few days.
Oh,
It's just
got it.
yeah, but it was not fun. And I literally was just like, I cannot stare at the walls of my house any longer. I hate this. I want to go outside. That probably be my high. Is I went outside today. The twins and I went on a walk. And we played with our neighbors, and even though it was like kind of drizzly, like it was so. I was just desperate to get outside, and I was so happy, and they were so happy. It was, yeah, they love playing outside. So yeah, that was my high. I was playing outside.
I love that.
Yeah, simple but good.
My. I feel like I had a good week. If I'm being real.
Good.
My high was that I had a good week.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, over the weekend, I did a lot of stuff. This week I'm like trying to like do routines because I'm rebranding as someone, well, allegedly rebranding as someone that could do a routine
Love it.
and actually do it. Allegedly. The rebrand, I don't know if that's rebranding quite then, but whatever. I can do it. So that's good though. It feels good to like try in life, you know, instead of just like, oh, I'm a worm in the dirt, Which you guys know. I feel like when you have kids, you try every day. Every minute of the day. Like you just
Every
try.
second.
We know the worm life.
Every hour.
You don't really like get a chance to just be a worm in the
Yeah.
dirt.
It's like you
can't.
No, you can't be a worm anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
wanna
I
be
do feel like
in
a
the
worm
dirt.
in the dirt with kids.
Well, I just
You're like
mean,
trying to crawl out.
but
and
you
this
did
dirt just
so
keeps
much
falling
stuff.
on your head. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
You're like
do
the
so much.
amount
Yeah,
of
that's
stuff. You
true.
never go through a day and go, I did literally nothing.
No, I would
Yeah.
love that. I would love that. Sounds
Yeah, but it's not like great lifestyle
good. Yeah.
to just like only do what you have to do
Yeah.
and then just like breeze on by. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe you should like take the moldy cups out of my room. That could be.
Maybe you guys should establish like worm in the dirt days where you swap kids. Okay, you give each other your kids, and then
No, but that still wouldn't be worm in the dirt though, because that's one day of your life.
yeah,
That's
but
not
it's
a
like you
worm in
get
the
a
dirt.
day.
That's
That's
just
just
a
a
relax
rest day.
Yeah, and then you just feel bad the whole day that you're not watching your own
Worm.
children.
No.
Dirt.
Anyway, so that was my highs. I'm like, I'm not a worm.
Hey man.
My low was I had therapy on Friday, and the therapy was good, but it's just like,
Takes it out of you.
yeah, when you just get into things that you're like, I'm like, can you tell me about that? And you're like, no, I never wanted to tell you about that. And
like,
yet
yeah.
I did.
I hate doing
Yet
that.
I did.
I never wanted to tell you
So
about that.
just those things that just take it out of you. And yet I still chose not to be a worm in the dirt because
did.
I care about myself and my mental health.
Amen.
Good for you, Laura.
You hung out a lot this weekend.
I know. I was like, I don't want to just sit here and like,
Yeah, you did
it just wasn't giving.
a lot of stuff for you. That was
Not that rest is bad. Okay, I'm not saying that. Plenty of you need rest. Okay, but sometimes you also need to just get up.
Yeah, it's like a balancing act for different seasons in life.
Totally.
I'm in a weird, very odd week. It's so, I don't know how to describe it. It's like I'm coasting along and I'm not like feeling super highs or lows. I'm kind of just like,
Okay.
but it's kind of like,
Neutrality.
it's not like bad at all. I'm like kind of
Peaceful.
comfortable actually. I'm just like, because I'm pretty sleep
Okay.
deprived because both my kids were sick and Tristan got a molar right before she got sick. So it was like
When
molar.
were they sick?
What? They had colds or something. I don't know.
I think I had
They had
memory
stuffy
problems.
noses.
Oh no, they've had stuffy noses last week.
Okay.
They've had stuffy noses.
Yeah,
so they've
when I was watching Tristan during top songs, she was going everywhere.
they're acting normal, so they don't look like, oh, I'm sick. They just are very stuffed up, which makes it once you
Yeah,
lay
it's probably like a
down,
light cold.
it's like hard to sleep. So anyway, so I'm very sleep deprived. So I'm kind of just like,
Did you not get their cold? Wow, good for you.
they get a lot of like little kid cold things that I just don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I
whatever.
feel like you don't really get sick that much.
I don't anymore.
Wow.
I
Amen.
don't know how. Maybe the journaling.
Maybe
journaling.
every time I'm sick, have you been journaling?
It says whatever. Okay.
And then Lauren laughs at me when I tell her that every time.
I support what you're saying. It's just
Anyway,
funny. It's funny and I
it's
support
not from
it.
me. It's from Google.
It's
I know.
true.
I know.
It's
It
truth
boosts
and
your immune
justice.
system. Immune system.
Yeah,
There's studies.
I
No,
guess
I'm
I
dead
support
serious.
that.
You're right.
Just saying.
It's
Well,
just
apparently,
a
look at me,
funny
not
thing
that
to
sick.
say.
Anyway.
Even though it's real.
Amen.
Also, the fact that I get in bed at 8 in the 8 o'clock hour most nights, that probably helps a lot. So anyway, yeah, I'm in a weird place where I'm like, So I don't know what you call that. So there's not really like a high. It's like, what was the high?
Okay.
I don't know. I'm kind of like, right now, just it's like a temporary like, but I'm not feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm dying. Except for there's one low. There's one low, and it's my eyelids. I have something rather. I think it's called like contact dermatitis or something like that. I didn't go to the doctor or anything. Just Google, Dr. Google. So every time I wear makeup, which is normally Wednesday and Thursday, then I get really red, itchy, dry, really painful. It's like really
Wait,
painful.
Is it eczema?
I don't know. It only
your
happens when I
eyes?
put makeup on.
Oh, like an
I
allergic
think that is
reaction?
contact
Yeah, I think that's
dermatitis.
what it is.
It's not like a chronic thing. It's like an acute
It's
thing where it
only
just
when I put
happens
makeup on.
from certain things.
So
Yeah.
then the next
Any
day,
makeup.
I'm trying to figure out what makeup it is. So then the next day I put makeup on again, and then it hurts really bad again. And then when I wash it off, it hurts. Then I heal over Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm normally healed in like 3 days. So Sunday I'm good again. And then Monday and Tuesday I'm good. Then I put it back on again on Wednesday, and it's back. And it hurts like really bad. Actually hurts so bad the other day that I woke up in the middle of the night because it hurt so bad. Excuse
Oh,
me?
yikes.
Excuse me. So I've been experimenting, trying to figure out what product it is that I
yeah.
am allergic to. And it's confusing because when I was Googling, it was saying like the way that it works is like you can be putting something on, you're allergic to it, and you won't get a reaction for, I guess, months or even like years or something because your cells have some kind of reaction. I don't quite understand. Irregardless, I don't get it, but I'm trying to figure out what it is. What's the
Yeah.
product? So today, all I did was put cream products on my eyelids.
Okay, and that worked?
I already
she'll have to
I
see
got it
tomorrow.
yesterday.
Got what?
Why did I have it
She'll have
yesterday?
to see it after she sleeps.
We were
if it's
filming
more
yesterday.
inflamed.
Oh, we filmed yesterday. We filmed yesterday and I didn't do that, so I already had it.
Oh.
So I'm trying to see if it's gonna be irritated. It's confusing, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I'm allergic to something and I don't just want to not wear makeup on my eyelids. So that's the thing.
Well, yeah, you gotta like do a makeup elimination diet.
That's what I'm doing. That's
You
what I'm
could
doing.
try. I think Almay is supposed to be like hypoallergenic makeup.
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
get like some of their stuff and just wear that for a little bit, and then slowly add in other things.
Yeah, because I don't really need that much stuff for
Yeah.
my eyes.
No, you just need like a concealer.
I don't do
and
that
a
much.
shadow.
Find something really gentle.
So that's my lows. It's really annoying, but it's not that bad. Okay, cool. High and low.
Amen.
So that's been like 6 weeks, I think, of that. 5
Oh
weeks.
gosh.
Every week.
Wait, that you've been allergic?
Yes. I don't think you notice it because it's covered up.
I can see
Bro,
it when
if
you're
my
saying
eyes
it, but-
were doing that to me, you wouldn't hear that.
And you don't see me on Friday and Saturday.
Ah.
You see me
never
maybe on Sunday or
mentioned it.
Monday. Yeah, because I'm not going to be like, guys, my eyelids.
I don't know. I would be like that.
Why would I tell you?
I would be like, oh my gosh, guys, my eyes.
Well, now at this point, I'm like telling the whole podcast. So that's that. Also, guys, you know, we're doing like a podcast rebrand, kind of, not really.
Like
Did
a
we
refresh.
say that?
Yeah, I think we kind
We
of
said
said it.
that like a few weeks ago.
We're planning it. We're working on it. We're just trying to figure out how we can make it the best of the best because we feel like we could improve it. We're thinking
Yeah.
maybe like a couch.
Yeah, just
To
more
like
like
change the vibe. We
chill
want to change the
vibes.
vibe. We want to bring more fun vibes to it while still doing like deep topics. But I think maybe sitting at this table makes us more like stiff.
It's giving evening news.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's giving the
sprawl
view.
out.
It's giving
Yeah.
anchor.
So I think we need to sprawl out.
Yeah.
We'll see
it.
what happens.
Man
So
spread.
we're planning it. And I
Yeah.
want to have like these fun promos that we post every week about it with like some music. And I want to have a little intro like song thing.
We should have like hot chocolate.
I
Kathy
was saying,
wanted the
I
bev.
was saying we should do a
Tea.
fun bev, which I will make.
Coffee.
All I want to drink is water during the podcast. And then I feel like I'm distracted by the bev.
I was just,
distraction.
yeah. I just think it's fun to see people try things. Today's
Yes,
drink is a
you
hot
can bring
chocolate
me
with
one.
peppermint candy
They
canes.
are too
Okay,
distracted.
we can have a
Bring
group
me
drink.
one.
I will say the key to hot chocolate is to do half water, half milk. Because I don't know about you, but
I
always,
don't like hot chocolate.
I always get a stomach
Oh.
ache, but I don't like watery hot chocolate.
good.
So it sounds weird, but actually it tastes like
No, I
really
feel like
creamy,
that would
but
make
not,
sense.
doesn't give you a stomach
Wait,
ache.
I just saw someone say something really weird. What was it? It was like the best hot chocolate. It's just water and cocoa. I was like,
That's not right.
That's
Wait,
not hot
do
chocolate.
they probably mean
Is
cocoa,
this like
the
a-
mix.
No. They
A
said
gluten-free
no
vegan
sugar.
person?
No, it was
This
it was something so random that I saw, and they were like,
Don't
just
believe that.
trust me on this. I'm like, no, it's. I don't know. Now I have to try it. There's no way it tastes good. There's no way. Why would you do that?
I don't like hot
For
chocolate.
views and clicks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they were tricking us, but I'm disturbed by that. But they're like, just trust me. It's the best hot cocoa.
Interesting.
I'm
We
not
should
into
do that
hot
and then watch
chocolate,
us all
never
taste
really
it, just
have
like we
them.
did the
Cinnamon
the
shot?
balsamic. We did not do the cinnamon challenge. The balsamic and
Whoever said that
Oh,
whole
that
balsamic
was
tastes
so
like
funny.
soda, that was disgusting.
Guys, I think
Except-
that's
remember,
that's
it was
been tricking
vinegar.
themselves.
It was vinegar and what was it called?
Sparkling water.
Sparkling water. Except for I love vinegar, so I actually didn't think it was bad.
Hey, I
It's
like,
not
wasn't
bad,
Coke.
but it's
I like
just like,
kombucha, but I don't like straight vinegar.
oh, I love straight vinegar.
I love vinegar.
You gotta
remember.
like temper it a little. Like gotta calm down a little, people.
I have like 8 kinds of vinegar at my house. Okay, so let's move on.
I do love vinegar, just not in a drink.
So that is that.
for
So guys, if you want to see every full episode of the podcast, you got to join our Patreon, patreon.com/Cimorelli. If you want to support us,
if we make you smile,
if we make you
we make your day.
If you're like, I love the Cimorelli podcast, I love these gals, I really want to support them, what can I do? Patreon is an option there, and you'll get all the episodes, plus you'll get our Monday Q&As, which Lisa is a part of some Mondays as well, and all our past content, all the past episodes. There's just a lot of cool stuff, and there's like a monthly patron only live stream. There's a lot of cool stuff, okay? Just saying. So check it out if you want to support us, and if you want all the full episodes. Linked in the description, patreon.com/Cimorelli. Cimrel. Why do we say that? Someone called us that once, probably.
Probably.
That's another one of our inside jokes. We did that, guys. We did that episode, explaining our inside jokes.
That was a great one.
That's another one, Cimrel. Okay,
I
it's not
don't
that
know what
funny.
it's from.
It's
I think
not-
it's just like nerd loser speak. Like
Cimrel.
we're just being nerd losers.
Or I don't know. I,
don't
feel like
know.
people mispronounced our name in so many different ways.
Camarillo.
Guys, someone I was on the phone with this lady from health insurance yesterday, and she tried to say my married last name Straniva, she said a word that it was so different. I think she said like Toranov or something. She's like, is that all you asked Miss Toranov or something? I was like,
Adele Dazeem.
she literally Adele Dazeemed my name. And she asked me how to spell it and wrote it down. And she was like asking me originally. She read Straneva as like Toranov or something.
So you went from one complicated name to another.
I'm like, where's the S? You took the S out.
Everyone just thinks for me, for reality is really.
See, yeah, that makes sense.
Christina,
That's
really?
Like, phonetically, I could see that.
Everyone says Christina really.
Christina, really?
Christina,
Actually, I don't think that sounds that bad.
Yeah,
No.
really.
Christina, really?
It kind of sounds like they're like, Christina, really?
Really?
You had the inflection.
So let's get into it. All right, so we're going to get into the main topic. Let's jump.
Suffering.
Yeah, let's jump into the main topic. Okay, so we were saying how we wanted to talk more about faith and whatnot because it's kind of confusing that there are so many people who have some kind of faith. They're some kind of a Christian or they have some kind of faith, religion, etc., etc. But yet it's not super common to talk about except for like maybe just strictly Christian accounts online. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. We were just saying you guys probably want to hear from us in this because we want to hear from other people in this. Mm-hmm. Like I want to hear people talk about their faith who don't normally talk about it. If they have some kind of faith, I want to hear about it. I want to know, but people don't talk about it. But I'm always so interested.
I feel like the only people, even just in normal life too, not even online, people that talk a lot about it, it's like the people that feel like, oh, they know a lot about it, and so they feel like qualified to speak on it, versus like just people sharing their own experiences. You don't really hear that as much because it's like you don't want to be like, oh, well, I don't know if this is right. I don't know as much as other people do. Like, I don't want to say something and like be like, oh, that's wrong or that's dumb or whatever. So it's like you don't want to like just say
vulnerable, and you might feel like I don't fit. Like I felt like this before. It's like I don't fit like the specific like kind of church girl stereotype.
Yes,
which is kind of messed up because it's like that's just a specific kind of person. But it's like if you feel like you don't fit that, then maybe you can't say anything. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Well, and also it's like I think that's the difference between talking about your faith and talking about your religion, because there's two different things. There's like your faith in God and how that
and your relationship
affects you and your relationship with God, and then there's your religion, which is how you connect with God in that way, and like all the different structures and different
different things. That's true.
There's a lot of different things to like talk about in that sense. And I think a lot of people talk more about their religion than their faith.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Because it's easier to talk about a religion. Because it's like, oh, these are the rules that I follow. This is the structure of the things. This is the things that, like, intellectually I believe in.
Yes,
but you can believe in that and not have very strong faith at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So we're kind of going to talk about faith and relationship today, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about today. So let's get into that. So I remember as a kid knowing that like God doesn't really exist in movies and TV, whatever. And I didn't know why. I just was like, oh yeah, that's just normal. It's like they don't go to church on Sundays in other in shows. Like the kids just go to school and then they're like home on the weekends and no one goes to church. I don't know why. And so when you try to think of like sharing, you're like, what do I share? It feels like it's so compartmentalized. Like, oh, church on Sunday, we talk about God like there, but then like, how does God have a place like when you're getting ready in the morning, when you're eating your breakfast, when you're taking a shower, when you're driving somewhere, when you're mad at someone, when you're going to a concert, when you're whatever, when you're doing everything. I think often it's easy to like shut God out of certain parts or like if you feel guilty about anything you're doing, it's just like, I don't want to think. It's like, I don't
exist right now.
I don't want to judge here with me in this moment. If you're seeing God as like a judge, instead of like he's literally with you in everything you're doing, good or bad, it doesn't matter if you're going to acknowledge or not. Like thinking of someone, it would be different if you were thinking of like the most non-judgmental, loving presence who is like there to guide you and help you. If you were thinking of that presence being with you at all times, would that not be so different?
And adding to that of like that presence knows you better than anyone and
Knows your intentions.
deeply wants the best for you. Like, I know what would make you the most fulfilled, the most happy, like would bring you so much joy in your life and wants it for you like desperately.
Yeah.
That's
Which
a
is
different
interesting.
presence.
That's a different, yeah. It's like a parent who's like a really good parent. That's like, oh, I like seen you grow up your entire life. Like if you can imagine like the best parent possible.
Well,
I think a lot of us don't have that though. So it's like hard to imagine that.
But also, I think that the human brain can't really
not
fully
a human, yeah.
conceptualize that because it's not human.
It's not human.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you're never
Yes.
going to have a parent, no offense to all the parents in the world, obviously love to you, whatever.
There's a lot of great
You're
ones,
never going to
but
have a
yeah.
parent that can know all of your intentions
Yes.
and know every exact reason that you don't even know why you
Yeah.
did things. Like, that parent knows everything and doesn't sit there judging and condemning you for it, but like just wants you to do the best you can
Yeah.
and like is there with you through the trenches.
So I think that's a big, okay, I think a big part of God in my life and inviting God into my life was kind of changing how I viewed God in the first place. Like getting real with yourself. Like, do you view God as just like this? Yeah, it's almost like an evil thing. People visualize sometimes like, oh, he's just this judge.
Yeah.
And that's like not right. Like this person who's just there to tell me everything I'm doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And then you reduce God to that. And then why would you want a person around you all the time who's just like guilt, shame, instead of like love? Like God is love. So if you're picturing this like every time you're thinking of God, then you're not thinking of love. You're not really thinking of and peace. Like you're not really thinking of God. So that was a big thing for me. And thinking of like different we were talking about like
It was like times we
finding God
found
in dark
God in our
times.
like suffering or like a
I
hard
made it through.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So incorporating God like into all the categories of your life. In harder times, in dark times. For me, I think of like my miscarriage. It's like losing a child, like the vulnerability of being pregnant in the first place and like losing your child and like all the different thoughts that come about like your body, your health, your ability to carry a baby, hope, joy, Jesus, your spirituality, your relationship, like faith, all these different things, you as a mother, all the different things that come up. The way that I felt about God at that point really changed the way I experienced my miscarriage and the way I felt about suffering, which is something we were talking about when we were discussing this. Specifically, suffering. It's hard when you think like God is good, then you think like, okay, so then if I just do everything right or something, then he's only going to give me, like he's going to make sure my life, like everything goes right and I get exactly what I want or something like that. It's kind of a weird thing if you think about it, but it's kind of like a common thing.
Yeah.
But when I had my miscarriage, there was like, I guess it was just like grace. It was like a supernatural understanding of, and I was thinking how different this would be if I didn't have faith. Like, I don't know what I would think or what I would do or how to go through this. It was like thinking of, it changed the way I think about death. I started to see a body as a vessel and not as the person. Like the body isn't the person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It was like the soul. So because I literally held my 6-week-old, not 6-week-old like this, 6-week-old, what do you call it?
Baby?
When they're that,
Fetus?
when they're that,
Embryo?
whatever they're called.
Fetus,
Yeah. Because it's not 6-week-old,
Newborn.
newborn,
Yeah.
even though they were newborn. I don't know how to describe that. It was only 6 weeks of pregnancy. Well, I guess it was like 8, but the baby was very, 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 like you could tell they had passed a little bit before that. So I held this body, but I was aware that the body wasn't the baby. I was like, this isn't the baby. But if you've known someone, then you're like, no, that's Amy. But if she wasn't in there, then it's not actually her.
Yeah.
So it changed
Wow.
that perspective for me. Like, this isn't actually the baby. This is like the vessel.
Yeah.
And thinking, oh, the soul is still there. Like, it didn't go anywhere. It wasn't extinguished. It didn't go. It looks like life being extinguished. When the way people say it like that, it sounds like it's just gone or whatever. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's because the life on earth is gone, but the soul isn't. So it just, I had this view of this little like white, almost like a little white like light, just like going and separating and like going up. Is kind of what I was picturing.
Yeah.
I was picturing like, oh, it went up there.
Wow.
And I'm holding this thing that doesn't have the light in it, but it's still like a beautiful thing because it's like beautiful to have like that vessel, but it's nothing compared to the soul, that little like light. And when I think of it, it's like it's the baby that my child, not baby, but my child is not gone. Like that light is there.
Wow.
It's kind of like a star kind of, it's like it's there. It never went away. That's so different than thinking like, oh, I just lost the baby, it's gone forever, like lost. Yeah, it changes the way it changed, I guess, yeah, for anyone dealing with grief. That's kind of my theme for this one is grief. Seeing it differently. I think the language that we use is different. Like, yeah, I didn't lose that baby. It's like it.
Well, it's almost like that's like a very Catholic theme of like being united. Like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the body of Christ, like you're still united with your child, even if they're not on
Yeah.
earth, because we believe in like it's like the church militant, which is the people on earth, and then the people in heaven. It's like which is the church, can't remember, triumphant? It's like they're all connected. They're all like one. I was
That's
even
how I
thinking about
feel.
how you named the baby Sparrow.
It means like I hope, I think.
Yeah, she named the baby Sparrow, which is in Latin, right? It's like Spero, which is so
Yeah, I think it
cool.
means I hope.
And it means I hoped. And I'm like, the fact that I think that's just mind blowing. Like miscarriage, I've seen some people go through it, and it's such a like hard thing.
It is devastating.
But like what you got out of it was like a hope in the end, which is like,
Yeah, it was
kind
weird.
of crazy.
Well, and it's not like you were just like, I didn't lose anything and
No,
it's
I was
fine.
crying so
Like-
much in the shower for weeks.
Like there was such like a nuance there of like loss, but it's not like complete loss.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a very weird experience. It was such a profound loss, but then it was I would say it was the most spiritual experience of my life. And it was like a gift to my marriage.
Wow.
It was such a uniting experience between Nick and I because I was in therapy with this amazing therapist at the time. So I was in like a really good headspace. So like right after it happened, I said to Nick, listen, if we feel anything, any feeling, we need to let it out. We need to tell each other. If we feel we need to cry, we need to cry. If we feel mad, we need to talk about it. Like if we feel anything, we need to express to each other. We cannot like shove this down and like isolate or anything like that. So then we both ended up expressing to each other, with each other, very fully, I feel like. And it just worked so well. So it was interesting that it was such an incredibly spiritual experience of hope. It was all these things. It was like devastation, grief, hope, love, some joy somewhat, and also pain and suffering. Because it was a suffering. It was me suffering, Nick suffering, and it was like my first experience of labor also, which was, now that I forgot to revisit that. Now that I've had labor with a 10-pound baby versus labor with I don't know what that is.
Like some ounce or something.
Whatever ounce
Yeah.
baby. It was pretty intense, actually. It was pretty painful, but it was even that labor experience, it was very painful, was this weird uniting experience with like, I felt like I was like united with women around the world. It was so weird. It was just this weird experience, but it was so much suffering. So it's just really beautiful with faith when you don't have God present in a lot of the areas of your life, it is hard to invite him in to a tragedy, but sometimes the tragedy is what actually brings it back. So I don't know, but going through tragedies and things like that without faith and without God, I just don't know what I would do. I don't know how I would do that. I don't know. It's just so profoundly different when I think about it.
Yeah, it brings meaning to the suffering. It's like, what would you, if you just suffered and that was it, that's like, what are you left with? You have to find some meaning in it. or something, or else it just sort of like can crush you. And I think that happens to people a lot when you just had to like end at the suffering, because it should go further than that.
I'm trying to think of, for like incorporating God, like, or feeling God in your daily life. I think what I touched on earlier is probably the reason why it's so hard is if you think of God as like this judge who hates you basically, then yeah, that makes sense. But if you thought of like a kind, really kind person, that'd probably be the best like advice I could give to like incorporate. But it kind of feels almost like things are meaningless. Like why would I bring God into this? It's meaningless. Like why would I incorporate God in like, oh, I'm getting ready today? Like why would I don't know. What do you guys feel about that?
Well, that's something I've been thinking about a lot recently, actually, like the last like 2 weeks, is how like strange the relationship between like a human and God is, because I've been thinking about that of like, okay, like we're called to like pursue Jesus. So I'm like thinking about this of like, okay, so if I'm thinking about like relationships that I've been in, it's like you talk to them every day, like you do all these things. I'm trying to like conceptualize like, okay, how would I like
Maintain this relationship?
Yeah, and it's like you have to talk to them, you have to show up, but then it's like, okay, but God is not like this person that I can see right in front of me. And it's like I started doing more like meditative prayer, where I've tried to like, I just kind of like sit and like meditate on one thing more rather than like talking as much, and just kind of like letting God like guide it more. And I was just thinking like, I want to know you, but like, how do I get to like, cause I was thinking like, oh, like first I was thinking like, wow, like you love me so much, you like want to help me, you want to do this, but I'm like, but how do you feel? Like I'm telling you how I feel, what's going on with me, but what about you? Like, and it's like, I want to know God like that, but I don't know how like that, how you get there or
but
what that is, but like, that's what I want. Like if I'm really like pursuing someone, it's like I want to know them. I want to know their heart. Like,
yes.
And
well,
it's
that
like,
makes sense with what I'm saying of if you don't feel comfortable inviting God into all your categories of life, that's someone who doesn't really know God. Because if you were to know him and have this presence of love, you wouldn't be like, oh, I don't know if I want God to be with me right now while I'm getting ready, because what if I'm being vain right now or whatever it is? You'd be like, no, I want God to be here with me while I'm getting ready. And God, if I'm being vain, could you help steer me another direction?
well, and that's kind of what I've been finding in trying to like let God into the ordinary moments, I would say, of like, okay, like, yeah, when I'm getting ready of like, what do you think? And it's like, sometimes
He's like, girl, you slayed your eyeliner.
yeah, like sometimes I feel like I do feel something of like him saying something, and sometimes I don't. I'm like, okay, well, I asked, like, I don't know what else you want. But it's like letting God in on how I'm feeling when it's not like nice. Like when I'm sitting in church and I'm like, God, I don't want to be here is the thing.
Is the thing.
It's the thing.
I don't like, I'm tired. I don't want to be here. And
It's
like,
really
no
powerful
disrespect,
to
but
do
that's
that.
how I feel.
To talk to God, especially if you're like, you know, you're doing or thinking something immoral,
Yeah.
and you can talk to God about that.
But that is the most important
That's
thing.
powerful.
Yeah.
When you're like, God, it's like, you know me. You know that I struggle with this. You know that I feel temptation in this area. You know that whatever it is, to be like, to have, I don't know, it just, isn't it such an exciting concept though, to have someone
Yes.
who already knows you so well and knows exactly what you struggle with and is there to help you, not See, I don't want to say God doesn't judge because it's like God is the
But
judge.
he doesn't
Kinda
shame
confusing.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
that's
doesn't
what it
judge in
is.
like a human way. It's
Yeah.
a different thing.
We don't, yeah.
It's a different thing.
Well, I think also too, and I don't know, speaking for God, I don't know, God, if you agree, but hopefully it's like he's not just looking at like, oh, sin bad. It's like he's like, oh, I saw when you were a kid, and oh, that's like really sad, but it's like, I saw when you were a kid and that thing happened to you that like gave you this vulnerability or this weakness.
Well, it's like, I know your heart in this.
Yeah, it's like he has this lens of like knowing everything rather than just a person who's looking at you. And that's what we think of judgment. It's like judgment is literally like they don't know. And if they knew, they wouldn't feel so like harsh. And honestly, I feel like when you judge other people, it's usually because you're judging yourself so
Twice
much.
as hard.
Well, that's the
And
thing.
it's like putting it on other people.
It's like you don't even know your own heart in it.
Yeah.
Like you don't see
Yeah.
like your innocence in it. You don't
Yeah.
see your like vulnerability, your like worthiness in
Yeah.
it. But God does.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah,
so
right.
many things like that show us God's heart in the Bible. And there's at least one instance, if not multiple, of him being like, I put your sins as far away from you as like the heavens to the earth kind of thing of like, he doesn't hold those things, like he holds us accountable for sure, but he doesn't hold it against us in that way. He's not just sitting there like, oh, you messed up, you did this wrong, blah, blah, blah. And that's why he gives us like the prodigal son parable in all the different ways that parable speaks. Oh, it's just so incredible. But like, he doesn't judge us in that way, so we shouldn't judge ourselves in that way. Like, we should know our wrongdoings and do our best to like make them right, rectify our own situations, and like live a just moral life as best as we can. But he also knows that we're like not perfect.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want us to like focus on all of our faults and our issues. He wants us to focus on like love and being a person that does all of their acts with love. Because if you're acting in love, you're going to do a lot less things that are harmful to others and to yourself.
That's a good point. If you're acting in love, I think people will like maybe hyperfixate or just fixate on different things. And acting in love is a very good way to think about it. Whereas I think a lot of people do the thing that a lot of people do in other categories of life where you think like, well, if I'm not shaming myself and hard on myself in a critical shaming way, then I'm not going to do the right thing. So you think, so people think, even with not like moral things, like, oh, if I don't shame and criticize myself all day, I'm going to be lazy and not get enough stuff done.
A worm in the dirt.
And be a worm in the dirt. This is something I learned in therapy that actually did change my life. I've talked about it before, but where, like what I'm saying, I had that belief on like more of a subconscious level, and my therapist had pointed out like, no, that doesn't actually make you, that's not the reason for your success. That's not, doesn't make you productive. It can make you have productive moments, but at the end of the day, it makes you very exhausted and in a bad place mentally. Even though it can push you to do certain things, there are better ways to be pushed to do things than that.
And
like,
also,
like passion and joy and like you're saying, love. Wait, let me finish this.
Yeah, you go.
This statement really quick. So like what you're saying, like if you're, that's kind of like what she was saying to me. She was saying like, think of the categories in your life where you've really excelled at things like learning about psychology stuff, where you like berating yourself, like you have to read blah, blah. And I was thinking for the first part of it, no, I was not. And I would sit there and read for 10 hours. Then I did start to be like, you should be reading something right now. And every time I was doing that, it made it really difficult to focus and learn and read. Same thing. So if you apply it this way, like in your life, if you're like, yeah, well, I need to be shaming myself and criticizing myself or else I won't be a good person, versus if you were trying to live from a place of love, which I don't even know what that would
Well, it's
look
so
like.
vulnerable is the thing.
yeah.
It's so vulnerable to live from a place of loving God, loving yourself, loving others.
Yes.
It's way easier to distance yourself and just be like, shame, 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 checkbox, checkbox.
Why is it so
checkbox.
vulnerable?
Because to live in love, from my conceptualization, is to show up fully,
Yeah.
to let yourself be loved by God, which means showing up to yourself. This is how I'm feeling. This is
You need
who
to
I really
let him
am.
in.
Like, this is me. All the bad parts, all the dark parts. This is me. And like, I'm letting you love me as me.
Yeah.
And doing that for other people too. Seeing their bad parts, their dark parts, and loving them anyway. And showing that to people in a healthy way.
Kind
people
way.
who are safe. Like, that's way more vulnerable than like, oh, I'm a good person because I did this.
Yeah, and judging people is also a way to, I think, mask a fear of vulnerability as well. To keep yourself separate from other people. And from yourself, from your own vulnerabilities. Because, like, in another way, it's like focusing so deeply on all of your wrongdoings and all of your issues actually makes them so much worse. It like it makes all of your proclivities way stronger because you're just focusing on your weaknesses, your failures, the bad parts of yourself all day, every day. That's not to say that you should let yourself off the hook for all the things you do wrong because obviously you need to know what you're doing wrong.
What's
and
the
make
loving
it right.
way? What's the loving way to not let yourself
Well,
off the
think
hook?
about kids. It's
Kind of like
like
being a parent.
yeah, it's think about like with your kid. If he hits someone, you're like, you can't hit someone.
There's a lot of ways you can
You don't
respond.
hit him back. You don't like
Okay,
you don't berate
my
him.
child
for hitting
hit someone. You can hit your child back.
Yeah.
You can hurt your child physically. You can
Yell at
berate
him.
them. Be like, you are such a bad child. You're such a bad person.
You can
How can you
shame
do that?
them,
Blah,
yeah.
blah. You could shame them. You're being such a bad person, blah, 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 whatever. So it's the same thing. You could not do anything and just be like, ignore it.
Yeah.
You could be like, don't do that and not really like care. Or you could be like, no hitting. You could say no hitting and like put up the boundary, remove whatever without shaming or being like mean, critical or scary or anything like that. And you can lovingly uphold a firm boundary without
permissing.
shame and without letting it go.
Thanks for listening to the Cimorelli podcast. To hear the rest of this episode, join our Patreon at patreon.com/Cimorelli, where we post every episode in full. You can also watch all of our past seasons and Patreon-only episodes when you become a patron.
You've been listening to the Cimorelli podcast. Follow Cimorelli on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube. You can also find Cimorelli on Facebook and Instagram.